Episode 237 of the Outdoor Biz Podcast with Wildlands Alliance Executive Director Todd Walton. Brought to you this month by Mountain Hardwear. Mountain Hardwear has been making high-performance gear and apparel for years. If you're a mountaineering enthusiast, outdoor athlete, or simply inspired by the outdoor lifestyle, check out their new arrivals today. Go to theoutdoorbizpodcast.com/mountainhardwarenew and get something nice for yourself. That's theoutdoorbizpodcast.com/mountainhardwarenew. Hey everyone, welcome back to the Outdoor Biz Podcast. Today I'm excited to talk with Todd Walton again. He was on the show back on episode 13 when I was still a rookie podcaster figuring out how it all worked, and here we are back on episode 230-something. We're going to talk about his new gig at the Wildlands Alliance. Welcome to the show, Todd. Welcome back to the show.
Yeah, thank you so much, Rick, and congratulations on the longevity of the Outdoor Biz Podcast.
Thanks.
Longtime listener and really excited to see the trajectory that you've taken it. So
thanks.
Congrats.
Thank you. It's been super fun. It's like we were talking earlier. It's been great. And we have so many great friends and acquaintances in the outdoor biz. It's super fun to talk to everybody. So we'll keep it going as long as we can.
Yeah.
Anyway. So let's start off with this new role. I think the last time we connected, you were with SIA, and you've recently, I guess not recently anymore, transitioned to the executive director at Wildlands Alliance. What's that been like?
It's been fantastic, to be honest. I've been in the industry for over 25 years and done pretty much everything. And the one thing that's been missing, even though I've served on some boards and done the work myself, is that really dedicating my career towards the stewardship, protection, and advocacy for the lands that we all play and enjoy. Mm-hmm. And being the executive director of Wildlands Alliance I've been there a little over a year and a half now, and it's been an exceptional learning experience.
I'll bet.
You talk about policy boot camp, right?
Right. And at the time that you joined, I mean, holy cow.
Yeah, some things have gone sideways.
Drinking from the fire hose.
Yeah, no question. But the team is unparalleled and truly second to none. And stepping into this role has been truly exceptional. And I'm very grateful for the opportunity. And it's one of those things where I get to truly put my money where my mouth is and not simply sell more product, but go out and talk to people about why the hiking trails and the backcountry skiing areas are so important and why people need to be involved.
That's very cool. And tell us about the work you guys do to protect human-powered winter recreation, because you guys are pretty focused on winter, right? I mean, you do stuff year-round, but...
Yeah, winter is a 365-day-a-year business.
That's true.
And so Winter Wildlands Alliance was founded 20 years ago. We're celebrating our 20th year this year.
Congratulations. Happy birthday.
Thank you. Yeah. So we were founded to represent the backcountry skiers and human-powered recreationists on America's public lands. And that means cross-country skiers, snowshoers, these days fat bikers, trail runners, you name it.
Yeah.
And we're an alliance of grassroots groups and organizers, environmental advocates, backcountry skiers, snowboarders, and just people who are really devoted to protecting and preserving and sharing the quiet places in the mountains. Mm-hmm. And so, when you talk about the backcountry is 4 seasons, but we are truly focused on winter. Gotcha. And that kind of goes down to Forest Service planning and over snow vehicle use and where people can get out for that true solace and enjoy winter for what it is in the lands, moving under their own power. And there's just that, reverence that we all have for that. That's why we head into the backcountry.
Yeah. Yeah. And backcountry in the winter is really a special place. I mean, it just seems like it's quieter. It's a little more relaxed, as long as there's no, avalanche activity or anything. It's a little more relaxed. But yeah, if you've not been in the backcountry in the winter, I would encourage you to go check it out because it is really a special place.
It is. And that's a great point. I mean, it's not, sometimes when people say backcountry, there's this connotation of, you need to be experienced and you need to have, tons of gear and training and everything else. The easiest way to get into the backcountry in the wintertime is a pair of snowshoes.
Yep.
And you just go for a walk in the woods and you can enjoy that quiet, and peaceful and really, muted landscape that is so alive, that really, brings you deeper, not only into the wilderness pretty quickly, but, it makes you realize like how important these areas are.
Yeah, yeah. And a lot of times in the winter, you don't have to go as far because the access is limited because the snow levels are lower. So it's but yeah, it's beautiful. Yeah, and if you feel like you don't have the chops to do it yourself, there's all kinds of guides and people that would be happy to take you on a walk in the backcountry.
Absolutely, and that goes. It doesn't matter if you're in the Northeast or even parts of North Carolina or West Virginia, all over the Midwest, there's great trails. Yeah. And even, even in certain areas, of the country, you'll see people, if an area gets, I don't know, a couple inches of snow, you'll see people bust out their cross country skis and hit golf courses. It's great.
Right. Yeah. Right. Yeah. Yeah. That's awesome. And so can you talk about some of the initiatives you got coming up?
Yeah, you
guys are working on a bunch of stuff.
there is no shortage of work, and like we said, winter is a 365-day-a-year business, and we're not 100% focused on winter over snow vehicle use and things like that. We are one of the founding members of Outdoor Alliance, which is a group of human-powered organizations, and we work with them on different policies and advocacy steps to, ensure that there is wilderness, that there are that there are roadless areas and there are non-motorized or even mechanized areas where people can go and explore and do it. But yeah, we've got, just off the top of my head, we've got,
and it probably that list gets added to every day these days, I'm sure.
Oh, you know it, especially with this administration.
Oh my God.
Two of the big things that we're working on right now is we're suing this administration around the changes to NEPA, and that's the National Environmental Policy Act. And essentially, back in the late 60s and even early 70s, there were rivers on fire because companies were just dumping stuff in and not really giving a crap around what the communities and how that was impacting, people's lives. Right. And so the National Environmental Policy Act came about on January 1, 1970, that said people need a voice. And so with that, we've, this administration has kind of gutted NEPA, and we have gone to the mat against it.
Good.
To protect the public comment periods and to really look out for the checks and balances and not just give people or corporations or the government free range to, weaken this cornerstone of American environmental law. And then, we're also have got a suit up in Alaska, the Ambler Road, which is a 211-mile gravel highway that's proposed through the Brooks Range. Okay. And mining is just simply not that important. And it would really just crush and devastate the Arctic tundra and the landscape and the biodiversity there. Not just that, but when we start talking about the native population up there and the indigenous people, their livelihood truly depends on it. Yeah. And to just blaze a road through there is exceptionally horrible.
And like we haven't done it before. It's like, geez, what at what point is it enough? Come on, man.
Yeah. And we have no shortage of winter travel planning going on in California and in Shoshone. And, on kind of the non-policy piece, we've got a lot of other fun things happening, with the Backcountry Film Festival, which this year is our 16th year.
Oh, cool.
So if it's kind of the way to get the backcountry community together and get the stoke on for the winter. Obviously with COVID times, we've shifted to an online platform, and that's getting ready to launch next month.
Right.
We're working to broaden our snow school program, which has typically been with fifth and sixth graders all across the snow belt, really. And, learning about snow science.
Oh, cool.
Carrie McClay has a PhD in education, and he runs that program for us. So it's, instead of doing a lot of on the ground learning opportunities, which is something that we've done previously, we're creating a homeschool snow school to where even just individual parents that are interested in snow science that live in an area where you get some snow, we're trying to make that accessible to everybody.
Nice. That's awesome. Yeah, that's very cool.
So truly no shortage of things going on.
Yeah, and I'm sure. So let's talk a little bit about the COVID and the pandemic and how that's impacted what you guys do, because a lot of us in the outdoor space are used to getting together, whether it's film festivals or trade shows or whatever, and it's all having to go online. So what's that been like for you guys?
Well, on the policy and advocacy piece, it's definitely sort of pulled the emergency brake a little bit and just slowed the processes down. One of the bigger things around that is just being adaptable to things like Zoom meetings and understanding that considering it is an election year, certain pieces of the government just sort of say, hey, this is an election year. We're just going to sort of slow things down a little bit. But with COVID, the biggest things that we've seen have been impacts on the backcountry, and not just the backcountry, but, the resorts, which are, a lot of them are on Forest Service land or public lands, but they have special use permits. So, back in the spring when all of the resorts said, hey, we are going COVID protocol, we're shutting the resorts because they didn't have a plan, which is totally understandable.
Yeah, at the beginning, nobody knew how bad, how dangerous, how bad, how do we mitigate it? It was, MSU had its make stuff up for those of you that don't know what that means.
Exactly. So, with that, immediately people took to the backcountry, and by the backcountry, I mean, unregulated ski resorts. I mean, Alta was a huge example of the parking lot was full. People were having cookouts, not socially distanced. There's a shop in Aspen that, essentially in one day sold out of all of their backcountry gear. Yeah. Because people were chomping at the bit to get outside and go.
Yeah, we saw that here in the Eastern Sierra. It was just inundated. I mean, it was amazing, just amazing. And not only the backcountry, I mean the front country too. All the BLM lands, Forest Service lands, backcountry, front country. There were people everywhere.
And it hasn't slowed down, Rick.
Right. It has here a little bit, just because we have smoke and the fires. But if
that's true.
Yeah, if you're in an area where there's clear skies, I'm sure it hasn't slowed down. Yeah.
And earlier this summer, I'm sure it was busier than it is now. Yeah, the smoke and the fires. Oh my gosh!
And now the forests are closed. So,
so obviously there's those mitigating factors, but bicycle sales through the roof, sleeping bag, backpack.
Kayaks,
sales. Right, kayaks. You can't find a PFD. People are paddleboarding to work or paddleboarding instead of work. And honestly, it's great because that's what the outdoor industry always has said, more people outside, more inclusivity. And I feel like that's a positive part of it.
I agree.
The impact of it is staggering. You get, I can speak to any number of areas throughout Colorado, Idaho, California, Montana, where the impact is just off the charts. People are building fires where they shouldn't build fires because, they might not know. The Forest Service is understaffed, so there's no rangers. But one of the biggest things is just the human waste. Everybody poops and nobody's packing it out.
And not packing out, they're not even burying it. They're just doing it and leaving the teepee and
oh my gosh. And some of those people they simply don't know, and their philosophy is, well, a bear does it, why can't I? And and it's really impacting not just trailheads because the pit toilets are closed. There's no maintenance, so it's really a big challenge. And I've heard a few places in the Wasatch and a couple places in Colorado and of one instance in California, and I'm sure there's many, many more, where there's just poop in the skin track. And that's
well, they
just,
were. There was Rock Creek Lakes Resort. My parents have been renting cabin up there for 30 years, and it's a great little place up on Rock Creek, and they have this little store like all these places do. They posted on their Facebook page on a Monday after a big weekend about people, when you come and visit us, please don't poop in the parking lot. And they had pictures of poop and teepee in the friggin' parking lot. So it's all over. It's amazing. And I don't get that. I guess that's, I'm just not that, wouldn't even think to do that, but sad. Anyway.
And that goes back to so many people that are probably listening, have a certain level of experience, but,
preaching to the choir,
yeah, to some extent, but it's like we don't go into the backcountry without a partner, right? So take a rest stop, take something not just for yourself, but just in case. And those rest stops are fantastic. I mean, I've used those in wag bags for 20 something years, and they're just, well, not the rest stop, but the wag bag. I mean, it doesn't stink. You're not getting poop in your backpack. It goes beyond just simple courtesy, especially in the winter time, right? Because if you bury something in the snow, it's gonna melt.
Yeah,
and then
so
you're impacting.
Yeah, exactly. You're gonna drink it later, Exactly. So what do you think it's gonna look like in the winter? Because we just went through the summer, and over here we're transitioning into fall, and we've got all the over here in Bishop, it's the fall color season, so we've got all the photographers and people coming up here. So this is going to be another inundation of folks. But what's it going to look like at winter when there's snow and you have to go to take extra steps to bury your stuff or pack your stuff out or whatever?
Well, there's, no one has a crystal ball, but I feel like we do have a crystal ball for this winter because we've seen, we saw what happened in the spring and the summer with outdoor gear sales. And I can say that, a lot of the retailers are already seeing backcountry gear fly off the shelves. There were a number of retailers that went ahead and stockpiled snowshoes for this winter, which, cool. But that also means that there's going to be more people in the backcountry, with Vail Resorts, having the reservation system, with other resorts, having their own policies with COVID protection. It simply means that more people are going to be interested in going into the backcountry. And no matter your user experience, that means that if you go into certain areas, there's avalanche danger. There's human impact. There's overcrowding. There's so many access issues with parking and all of those things, not to mention, COVID. Like, do you wear a mask in the skin track? Try to keep 2 ski pole lengths apart. There's a lot of things that we can talk about as far as, skiing kind and recreating responsibly and all that stuff. But generally speaking, we're already seeing a spike in retail sales for avalanche gear and backcountry gear. And so, my crystal ball is that the backcountry will be more crowded. And that people need to be a lot more aware of their surroundings, their comfort level, their experience level, and the terrain.
So what are your thoughts on how those of us in the industry can help mitigate the impact? Because we know we're going to continue to see the people coming here. We want the people to come here because we want everybody to get outside and recreate and have fun. But at the same time, we've got to protect that space and do certain things. And I think it's, the other thing that we're running up against is these poor, Forest Service employees and public agencies are just, underfunded, overrun with, rules and regs and paperwork and whatnot. I don't even know. And it's just that how we have to figure out a way to, somehow raise more money to help these people and educate folks ourselves as an industry. I mean, what are your thoughts on that?
I think you're spot on, Rick. We're all stewards of the outdoors, right? We all have that responsibility to be educators. Again, we all have ski partners. We all have backcountry posses. We have, groups, and we need to make it
Or squads. I think squads is the new terminology.
Right. But so, with that inclusivity, everybody has the right and the privilege to be outside and enjoy these public lands, but we also all have that responsibility to take care of it and be educators and not be afraid to be advocates and stick up and have our voices heard for the land.
Yeah.
Not to throw a Seussian piece out there, but we got to speak for the trees.
For the trees, and then for the other folks that are out there that want to enjoy the space. I mean, we're all in this together, right? I don't want to ski by somebody's mess that they left right on the trail. So,
exactly.
And I don't want anybody to get sick either. I want everybody to go out there and have fun.
Exactly. And that's part of it. I mean, one of the things that is so important about being outside is the health benefits, right?
Yeah,
we all just feel better if we go outside. Mm-hmm. And, I think more and more folks are seeing that and feeling that. And that's really important, not just for the industry, but for, everybody's own health.
Right.
And so with that, we do have to understand that there are different levels of experience and different levels of knowledge when it comes to just basic interaction in the backcountry.
Yeah.
It's if you want to listen to music on your Bluetooth speaker hiking down the trail, that's fine for you, but that impacts my experience.
Yeah, right.
So, just using it as a teachable moment and not being afraid to be advocates for other people around, not in a confrontational way, but just say, hey, this is what I'm getting out of it.
Yeah, that's another interesting. I'm not going to go into that one because that's a whole nother. We've had some of those incidents here in the Eastern Sierra, sure everybody's has, but just you got to you got to do your best to educate as best as you can. We're going to take a little break and give some love to our episode sponsor, Fiverr. When I'm looking for graphic design or SEO help or a social media scheduler, I go to Fiverr. They have a variety of options and services available and never disappoint. Go to theoutdoorbizpodcast.com/Fiverr and get inspired to do more with some of the best work delivered by the Fiverr pros. That's theoutdoorbizpodcast.com/Fiverr. Fiverr is Fiverr. Back to the show. Let's shift gears a little bit and talk about your perspective on the growing trend of backcountry skiing and the why behind it. What do you think people are taking that up? And I know why I go. It's fabulous. But
Shh, don't tell anybody.
I know, right? I don't go anymore, unfortunately. My knees are too bad, but I miss those days. But yeah, it's fabulous back there.
It is, and I think that's part of it. You're seeing a lot of growth trends, and my year at OIA and my time at SIA, being neck deep in the research and the trends and everything was really nice to have that perspective. And at Winter Wildlands Alliance, using that knowledge to understand the impact on what we're doing to protect these areas is really advantageous, I feel. Mm-hmm. And the trend for backcountry skiing, there's so many reasons why. In the past 1 or 2 years, it's been the number one category has been fitness skinning, if you will.
Oh, okay.
So it's people that live in mountain towns or that are traveling to mountain towns that hit the resort before they open, obviously based on that resort's policy. Yeah. And then they can, work from the condo or, if they live there, then they, work remotely or whatever. So it's people that are sort of dipping their toe into that sort of safe and controlled environment that they will transition into, longer day trips or things like that. So, that, and when you look at, if you have a pair of skis or you've already invested in, a pair of crossover bindings or whatever, then your next step is to go into the backcountry. And by backcountry, I want to be, really clear. If you're at a resort and you go beyond a rope or you go into a walkable access part, that's the backcountry. Yeah. There is no side country. There is no slack country. Yeah. The minute you step out, you're in the backcountry.
Yeah.
So, people are wanting to explore a little bit more. Other part of that, so you've got that part, you've got the fitness part of it, but the other part is people have a perception of how much a ski pass costs and how many days they get out there. So if I'm going to spend, $800 on a pair of skis and $600 on a pair of bindings, and I've already got poles and boots and blah, 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 then my investment goes way beyond what a day lift ticket is, or even a season pass is.
Right. If you add the travel to get to the resort, the condo, I mean, it explodes quickly. Yeah,
exactly. So there's a cost perception as well. On, sort of the fourth quadrant of it is, simply being in a quiet place and being able to get there under your own power and enjoy the backcountry.
Yeah.
That is, I would say, not looking at the numbers, but looking at sort of the human experience behind it. That is the bigger growth part of it.
Interesting. Yeah, that's probably true for summer backcountry experience too, because I think our lives are just becoming so inundated and complicated. And even before the pandemic hit, people are just looking to get away from the traffic and the noise and the grind of daily life. And if you go backpacking or backcountry skiing or something, just for a hour walk in the backcountry, you can get that escape. So I think you're right.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And that's so much of it, especially this season when, we have an election coming up in November. People are going to want that respite from
the noise,
just from day-to-day life. Yeah. And it's super important to have these public lands and to have access to these spaces that provide that.
Right. What are you hearing about how resorts are going to handle the access to their the country that's outside of their resort boundaries? I don't want to call it backcountry because some of it's backcountry, some of it's front country still, but it's outside of their purview.
Yeah, that's a great question, Rick, because every resort is different, and while the majority of ski resorts are on public land, they have use permits and they have operating agreements and things like that. So people do need to respect what the resorts are doing and research their policies and understand kind of what that access point is. And every resort is different. So, depending on where you go, it's really important to sort of read up on the uphill policies or the side country policies, or more than anything, the parking policies. Yeah. Again, not to pick on Alta, but, there's some big things happening in the Wasatch that are, really around access issues to really good ski spots in the backcountry that are accessed from, resort parking areas or off-road parking areas in the town that, can cause some conflict. So, I hate to say carpool in the time of COVID, but, just being aware of what you're doing and, acknowledging that you have your own personal responsibility to, be the best you can be when it comes to being a good ski citizen. Yeah. No, you're right. That happened in the summertime.
And I think the other issue that's impacting all these folks, same thing. I was talking to somebody a few weeks ago, I think it might have been on the show, is, all these agencies have, are spending all their resources with people and money just managing things these days. We haven't built a new campground in Southern California, I think, in 30 years, other than if it was related to the great water moving project that we've done with the aqueduct. But I mean, that's the other thing that's happening to all these places is as they get more inundated with people, the resources that were built years ago to handle a smaller amount of people. So the parking is not there, the the lodging is not there, all those things, camping is not there. So, keep that in mind when you go out there too.
No question. And as you mentioned before, the resources that normally maintain have been just slashed.
Exactly. Gone, right.
Yeah. And, Forest Service employees and BLM employees and Park Service employees, they're not doing it because it's they're not breaking the bank. We'll just say that.
Yeah. No, right. Right.
It's a really important job, and they are, someone that could be a wilderness ranger out there who's used to, going to areas where you can have educational moments of, hey, you're not supposed to build a fire here, or here's, how you properly poop in the woods. They're cleaning up the bathrooms. And since they can't even do that, they're locking the bathrooms because they have so many other things to do.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. The maintenance is going by the wayside. Yeah.
Yeah.
So you heard from retailers that backcountry ski sales and equipment sales, or winter backcountry, I'm referring to, are booming, going
They're
well.
already, they're
interesting.
already moving.
Yeah, I'll bet. Yeah, it's not surprising. I haven't talked to many of our retailers around here.
Yeah, and those conversations have been with big retailers.
Yeah.
They've been with reps in the industry. They've been with some local retailers for me, and it's the trend.
That makes sense.
Yeah, because people are wanting that access point. And again, a pair of snowshoes goes a long way to enjoy winter, or just enjoy some time outside.
Right.
So the cost of entry is all over the place. And we saw it this summer with, sub $800 bikes. You can't find one.
Right.
People want to get outside, and they want to dip their toe in, even if they haven't been into the outdoors previously. But yeah, backcountry gear sales, my prediction from retail and manufacturing and both OIA and SIA is, if you don't have it, you might want to look into getting it now.
The old days, buy it now or we're gonna run out.
Yeah.
That's a nice shift to see on the sales side of things.
Yeah.
We talked earlier about NEPA, so give us an update. How's that going? I'm sure, this administration's got so many lawsuits going. It's incredible. Is it stalled out because of the election, or what's happening?
Oh no, we're definitely moving forward.
I know. I'm sure you guys are moving forward, but I'm sure their side is putting up we're busy.
Yeah, there's a lot of that. And when it comes to litigation, I mean, really that is the last resort when it comes to defending public lands and the public's right to weigh in on government decision making.
Right.
And essentially the new regulations went into effect on September 14th. And, we've said internally, like, it's going to be chaos. And they have issued no guidance or instruction or training to any federal department or agency around this rule. And, agencies know that the new ruling on the Center for Environmental Quality, the new regulations are out. And they're going to change every step of the review process. So anything under current review, you may have to shake the snow globe and go back under these new rules and regulations. Jeez. So truly, it is it's a junk show.
Yeah.
And it doesn't move. It doesn't move quickly.
Yeah. It's slow anyway, but it's even slower now. Yeah.
Yeah. And litigation is the tool that really helps us hold the government accountable when they violate the laws. Yeah. And, Winter Wildlands Alliance.
Well, there's another tool, but we're not there yet. So
yeah, exactly.
We're getting close though.
Exactly. And Winter Wildlands Alliance doesn't do this work alone. We've got a lot of partners when it comes to NEPA and the Ambler Road and things like that. Right. But really, my encouragement is for people to understand and to get involved. If you use public lands like we all do, then understand what these consequences are, because they're pretty big.
Yeah. I can imagine.
And more than anything, I'll put in a plug. Support Winter Wildlands Alliance, support Outdoor Alliance, support other organizations that are doing good work. Whether it's your recreation line of American Rivers, or if you're a backcountry skier, obviously Winter Wildlands Alliance, but get to know these organizations and get involved, because the more you can be involved in the process. You can jump into a local meeting.
And you can help others. You can help educate others. Yeah, when I was on the board of the California Wilderness Coalition, it was, once you get involved and on the board, you learn so much more, and then you can also help educate others. So that's another good way to get involved.
And you can use, you're a U.S. citizen. You can comment on anything. And, it may not be the majority. They're going to have to listen.
Yeah.
So, get involved, take action, be a part of the process. Don't just say like, oh, well, that stinks.
Right.
Well, what did you do?
I don't like it. Yeah. Well, how did you impact it? Yeah. So we talked earlier about Ski Kind. Tell us a little bit about that. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a campaign.
I love that. Yeah, I love that.
Yeah, thank you. Winter Wildlands Alliance is going to be rolling that out in the next couple of weeks, and
Cool.
it's pretty simple. It goes back to the recreate responsibly, and it's a little bit more approachable because the whole ski kind idea is just really simple. And by ski, we mean anything you do sliding on snow in public lands. It doesn't matter if you're on a freaking lunch school tray or a blow up unicorn or a 1,000cc snow pony. It's, be kind, ski kind. And by kind, it's, rule 1, don't be a jackass. Rule 2, see rule 1.
Yeah. And I love that because, when we talk about, recreate responsibly, well, responsibly that leaves a little room for, interpretation, but kind is pretty simple. Everybody knows I think everybody knows what that word is. So I love that.
Yeah. And, ski kind, be a good neighbor, help out when you can. If you see somebody struggling, jump in.
Right.
The other part of that, we've kind of got 7 pieces of it. The other part is ski aware. Know your conditions. If you're not AVI trained, then play it super safe.
Yeah.
Ski smart, know your limits, understand the terrain.
Yeah.
Live to ski another day, like we've always said, right, Rick?
Right, exactly.
Ski respectful, make space, farm your turns. Like everybody wants the POW. Ski no trace, take only photos, leave only tracks, pack out your poop.
Yeah.
Pack out your poop. I can't say that enough.
Oh my God. Yeah. I know that's an interesting one. I don't know how to solve that one, but I think Americans or maybe humans are afraid of their poop. It's like they just like want to get it out and run away from it as fast as they can. It's like, come on, man, it's not going to kill you.
That's right. We're not cats. We don't have to bury it. We do have to bury it, but we have, there's technology out there that like we can pack it up in a sealed bag and throw it away.
Yeah. Exactly.
The other 2 pieces of the ski kind part are skiing inclusive. I mean, that means share it.
Yeah.
There are places where snowmobiles are absolutely welcome. And we're not an anti-snowmobile organization, but we say, hey, there's a line, respect the line.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm not opposed to taking a sled to access the backcountry, but I know where that line is and I'm not a jackass.
Yeah.
And then the other part is ski fun. Let's put the FU in fun.
Yeah.
Darn it.
Yeah, exactly. That's why we're all there. Right. Yeah. That's good. I love it. And is that that's on your website, right? We'll link to that on your website too.
Yeah, we'll be we're creating our own website around that. So that's going to go live here in the next week or so.
Awesome.
We're going to create some merch. We're going to have some fun with it, some stickers. But really, it's that approachable, recreate responsibly, except just ski kind.
Yeah. Well, we'll put links to all that in the show notes. That's awesome. That way people can find it.
I appreciate that.
Do you have a favorite piece of backcountry ski gear that's under $100 that everybody should have with them?
I think everything I own, with the exception of my skis and boots, are under $100 at this point.
Mine too, I think.
Yeah, and we talked a little bit about this the last time I was on, way back when.
Well, I think the last time we were on, you recommended a great shirt. I think it was yeah, that's right.
I'm sticking to. I'll stick to 3 pieces, right?
Okay, cool.
And it's super simple. The number 1 piece of backcountry gear you can have is a foam trucker hat. Yeah. And I learned this from Martin Volken, who runs Pro Ski and Guide Service out of North Bend, Washington. He's a Swiss mountain guide. Like, he grew up in Switzerland and full on there. I was joking around with him a bunch of years ago, and I was like, tell me about your foamy hat. Like, you're a ski guide. You clearly you know what's up. He goes, look, it's windproof in front, it's insulated, it's vented in the back, it's sun protection, and either it's free or it's $20.
Yep.
Like, oh my gosh! And
if it gets wet, it's going to dry quick.
Exactly. And I started using foamy trucker hats. I was like, oh my God, brilliant!
I like it. All right, good.
So that's number 1. Number 2 is a volet ski strap. I mean, you talk about a multi-purpose emergency piece of gear. Does almost everything from, holding your skis to strapping stuff on your pack to, creating a splint if you need to. And the other one, I go back to that freaking Wrangler snap-up
Nice.
shirt that you get at any feed and supply store. It's polyester, so it's a little bit wind resistant.
Yeah.
That with a wool T-shirt underneath it,
Good to go. Yeah, good to go. Awesome. Well, we'll link to those in the show notes too. Yeah, that shirt was a big hit way back in episode 13.
Nice.
As we wrap up, is there anything else you'd like to ask or say to our audience?
No, I just, again, Rick, am super appreciative for your time and everything that you're doing with the Outdoor Biz podcast. And, it's a great learning experience from Ches the other week to the outdoor photography last time. I mean, everybody across the board, learning from Scott and Alicia, and, you have such great connections, and this is such a great learning opportunity, not only for industry veterans, but for people wanting to get into the industry to understand bits and pieces about what's important and how to grow. But my last plug, of course, is going to be to, if you recreate outside, get involved. And obviously with winter coming up on our heels super fast, learn more about Winter Wildlands Alliance. And if you're a backcountry skier or snowshoer, cross country, learn more about what we do and get involved.
Yep. And you guys are at winterwildlands.org, right?
That's correct.
Perfect. Well, we'll link to all that in the show notes. And I appreciate you coming on. It's been a pleasure. If people want to follow up directly with you, is that just better to hit you up on that website?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, cool.
And I have my emails on there. I'm happy to share that in the show notes as well.
Okay, we'll do that. Cool.
Very open to having conversations.
Awesome. Well, I appreciate it, Todd. It's been good catching up again, and I'm sure I'll see you on Zoom next. I don't know when I'll see you in person, but I'll see you on Zoom at some point.
Well, no matter what, I'll look forward to raising a glass and seeing your face.
Right on, man. Thanks, bud.
Be well, Rick. Thank you so much.
If you want more of the Outdoor Biz podcast, you can subscribe on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Stitcher, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts. Be sure to go to the outdoorbizpodcast.com where you find all the episodes, show notes, and much, much more. Until next time, be sure to make time to get outside.